So, I know that The Last Jedi is a dead topic now. Sorry. The Last Jedi is a dead topic. No one talks about it anymore. No one cares about it anymore. And I am soon going to become one of those people. Until the next Star Wars film comes out, and we compare it to every single film, then we continue to rip into this one. Alright, so to celebrate this thing officially becoming irrelevant, and I mean, honestly, to hardcore Star Wars fans, and this is never going to be irrelevant. But at this point, it's about time to just let the past die, kill it if you have to. I'm gonna get over everything that I dislike about this film. So, first of all, it's a run-down version of the original trilogy. The Force Awakens is alright. The Rise of Skywalker is alright. But why would I watch them if I could watch A New Hope or Return of the Jedi? I mean, I'm going to be talking about the sequels in general, because they all basically come underneath the same cloth. But so they're run-down versions of the original trilogy. They don't have as much likable characters, and when they do have likable characters, they butcher them and they make them either useless, or just us jerks who will let the entire universe die just because his temple was burnt down. Second of all, it's writing. There's a lot of plot holes in the writing of The Last Jedi, especially. Then The Force Awakens also has a lot of plot holes. The Force Awakens, the map was made 6 years prior to it. So why didn't anyone? If no one knew about it, then how did that old dude know it? That old dude knew it because he went with Luke Skywalker. Okay, took 6 years to interview the guy that was last with Luke Skywalker. See, the plot holes like that you can make an explanation to. People on the internet will rip into it, and it's just an endless cycle. These films are undefendable. The more I've figured out that the more you love Star Wars, the more I start to hate this film. And I know hate's a strong word, but when it comes to The Last Jedi, I really hate this film. It's my least favorite film of all time, but it isn't the worst one of all time, because The Lion King 2. I really hate that film as well. But my least favorite film is The Last Jedi, but the worst film ever made is Lion King 2. I'll get into that another time, but The Last Jedi, when it comes to these Star Wars sequels, I mean, you had the original trilogy. They're classic films. Basically, everyone loves them. Everyone will continue to love them, and they will stand the test of time. The prequels, I loved them just as much, but obviously some people won't like them. But they didn't just feel like your regular film that comes by 1 year and then you completely forget about it. When it comes to these sequels, that's the case. These sequels are just films you watch them once, and you never watch them again. That's not what Star Wars is. Every single Star Wars film up until The Force Awakens was like them or not, these are films you're gonna go back and watch all the time. These were films they're films that can stick to you in your childhood. Oh, but it's because you grew up with them. I'm still growing up with these things. I'm still growing up with the sequels. I'm 13 years old, and why do I still hate these films? So saying that the reason you don't like the sequels are because you didn't grow up with them, it just completely ignores all the people, like the kids, that dislike these films. And some people don't understand that obviously Ryan Johnson got a lot of hate for his film. It wasn't just because he was a bad writer who made a bad film, but it was mainly because the things he said on Twitter were absolute BS. I mean, if you dislike this film, then you are racist. If you think Finn was an underdeveloped character, then you are racist. What about all the black people that dislike The Last Jedi? Oh, and if you think that Rey is a run down version of Luke Skywalker, then you are a sexist. What about all the girls that dislike The Last Jedi? He completely ignores these people to fit his own benefits. He thinks only a bunch of man babies that sit in their basement all day, watching Star Wars, are the only people that dislike this film, when that's just not true. See, when you grow up with a seer, he doesn't understand, and he's someone who doesn't like Empire Strikes Back. So honestly, he isn't exactly, the biggest fan of Star Wars ever, but he clearly isn't a Star Wars fan. You can tell by the things he tweets, the scenes he shows on Twitter to try to prove his point. Those see, he doesn't seem like a Star Wars fan, but when it so he doesn't understand that when you completely you kill off beloved characters, you turn them into douchebags, you make them unlikable. You don't know how that's gonna, stress someone who grew up with the series. And these films are just, as another thing is that they don't need to exist. I'm not talking about Ryan Johnson anymore because, he had nothing to do with these things existing. But Star Wars was such an open and shut classic. They were the perfect films that you can watch and have fun with. But when it comes to and then they made the prequels to show how the Empire came into power, to show us how to show us how the Jedi Order started off in power, and why we're in the situation we were in A New Hope. Why did it need sequels? I mean, the Death Star was destroyed. The Empire had no more followers around the galaxy. A lot of people don't seem to understand people wonder about where the Force Order comes from. The First Order are the Empire. I mean, the First Order are First Order are the Empire. Just because the Death Star blew up, the Empire didn't go away. They still had people in power. They still had power. They were just not as strong as they used to be. That's the answer to that. So, are there some good things about this trilogy? Well, yeah. I mean, I feel like there are one good character in this trilogy, and that's Poe. I know that's a really unpopular opinion, but to me, Poe is a good character. He's funny, and is he a replacement for Han Solo? No. I mean, another really unpopular opinion. Kylo Ren is the best character in this trilogy. In Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker. Obviously, not the best in the entire series, but in the entire saga, he's the best character in this trilogy. But I just find his character to be interesting, except in The Last Jedi when he was awful. And that gets into my another point why these ones were awful. The acting, especially in The Last Jedi. The acting was just so dull. No, I mean, it's not like they were necessarily bad. It was just dull compared to The Empire Strikes Back. These films are just these films. I want to say it again. They're just the reason I dislike them are because they're good films, but I still just dislike them. Because to me, Star Wars isn't films that you watch once and then completely forget about it. They're things you'll go back and watch over and over again. With these sequels, I can't do that. And another problem these sequels have when I watch them, like I try to rewatch The Rise of Skywalker, the best film in the sequel trilogy. I mean, that's another unpopular opinion. But the Rise of Skywalker is good. The second I heard that, I was just thinking, why am I watching this? And I could just be watching Empire Strikes Back. So, that's exactly what I did. My best nights of the week. See, when you have problems like that, that's not a way to get people attached to your film. If there's something different. See, when it comes to making all right films in a Star Wars series, that's not going to be. I mean, when you already have the two greatest films ever made, Revenge of the Sith and Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, and Phantom Menace, and A New Hope, and Attack of the Clones, and you have six of the greatest films ever made. When you make a film that's alright, how are you going to compare it to them? You're going to have your entire film made off of people just ripping into it. And that's a problem these sequels have. They're in the same series as these films that are brilliant. I mean, you can say, I mean, you could, there's that old cliche things that critics say, where, it's, how dare these things be in the same, planet as The Empire Strikes Back? How dare it be touched by the same people as Empire Strikes Back? How dare it be made of the same this kind of things as Empire Strikes Back? This is monstrous, but maybe they don't realize it, but I definitely do. When you have, you already heard me. When you have an alright film next to one of the greatest films ever made, it's not going to be that great. That's probably why some people disliked Shrek the Third. You had two of probably the greatest animated film ever made next to Little Mermaid, Peter Pan 2, Arella, Snow White, Ratatouille. When you're compared to them, you're not going to be that great. So, yeah, you heard me when I say that. The fight choreography is truly abominable. I mean, the Rise of Skywalker, or fight on the Death Star, just looked stupid. Looked like two kids playing in their back garden. But when it comes to the Last Jedi throne room scene, I felt like putting my skull into the TV. I mean, the fight choreography was just awful. When people are saying, "Oh, you slowed it down, nobody will notice," and like there was this dude, he had the Last Jedi as in third place. He had it in third place, and he was saying, and he hardly said anything good about it except for Rey and Kylo's relationship was half decent, and the people are complaining about the throne room scene. You slowed it down. Yeah. You slowed it down. And why would you do that? That's just. You're denying the problems in these films. The fight choreography had no effort put into it. Look at the prequel fights. If you might dislike them, but try pick out things wrong with those fights. Now that thing Hello Greedo said. I mean, he apparently loves The Last Jedi, but then when he looks at Attack of the Clones, he praises the fight choreography, but when he looks at Attack of the Clones, he's just... Attack of the Clones, that balance, you know, see, it's like glitter. You make a bag, and you think kids like glitter, and you put a lot of glitter in it. And then you put the glitter, and that's how kids are made, okay? And then when the glitter gets in your hair, and the glitter gets really annoying. Then when you scrub it out, you look at your back, and you see there's even more glitter. Then when you go to a party, you meet a nice young lady, and that young lady, you shake her hand, and she asks, "Why is there glitter in your?" And then you have the greatest night of your life, and you decide to get married and have kids, and then that kid graduates college, and you're the luckiest man on earth, but you're still trying to get glitter out of your hair. And then when that kid meets another person, and as I said, they made a... And then you're on your deathbed, looking at your beautiful family, now with grandchildren, and you die the luckiest man on. And that is what the Geonosius battle was. A lot of glitter. People try to nitpick these films, like people, when they talk about Attack of the Clones, they have one problem with the film, and then they just continue on nitpicking it. Like, if you had a problem with the dialogue in Attack of the Clones, he'd hammer the hell out of that point, and then when he figures out he has another 2-hour long film to look at, they just have nothing else to say. But the fight choreography in The Last Jedi is terrible. If they got the people who did the fight choreography in the prequels, that would have been beautiful. I would have probably loved these films a lot more if it at least looked good. Obviously, there's a lot more problems with this film, but realistically, The Last Jedi is a dead topic. To me, with Star Wars will never be a dead topic to me, but I know, like, the 2 people that keep watching my videos just because, you know, they want to keep my opinion on films. So, this film, what do I rate it out of 10? I give it an amazing 0, because it's an awful film. The film's bad. The fight choreography is abominable. How about we watch it go?